Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Can you please explain the importance of Tariqat knowledge in comparison to scholarly knowledge? I am having difficulty in portraying this information to people that keep advising me to study fiqh. Alongside this, I'm getting frustrated at how people have the perception of tasawwuf as being very feminine-like way. How can I clarify this to people?
Euzu billahi mineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Destur, madam. Look, making a show. Look. Just as I'm about to start, just to make a show. Sign of a munafiq. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We're asking support from our Shaykh. Whatever that is sending us, whatever is necessary, we're going to take. This is not an academic, scholastic association. We're not here to collect knowledge and to carry it like donkeys. Donkey carrying books doesn't give any benefit to him. We're here to take knowledge that gives benefit to us. And as much as we are putting it in use and experiencing that knowledge becomes the best of knowledge. Knowledge that you cannot experience, is that real knowledge? Someone else's knowledge is not yours. You see, in Islam, there is zahir and batin. Where ilm, knowledge is concerned, there is zahir and there is batin. There is external and there's internal. This body is zahir, is external. The ruh, the spirit, is internal. Which is more important? Is there any debate? Is there any debate which is more important, the external or the internal? No debate. It is a spirit that is more important. So, it is a spiritual knowledge that gives life to the knowledge that you possess. There is Shariat. Is it important? Of course it's important. Now, we're not saying the batin knowledge, the spiritual knowledge is important, so the spirit, the physical knowledge, you can just throw it aside. External knowledge, you can throw it. No, you cannot throw it. It has to be there. It is there. But it is like this. You have to have the physical, the laws. It represents one wing. And you need to have the spiritual knowledge. It represents another wing. With both these wings, you can take off. If you only have one without the other, what happens to a plane? If only one engine is working on the wing, it will circle around, keep circling. It's going nowhere. Intelligence you have to have. Intelligence you must have. But just as the plane that takes off, first it uses the wheels. Shaykh Effendi said this, no? He uses the wheels. And the plane is taking off, the wheel is going faster and faster and faster. Then what happens? Once it starts taking off, and the engines, they are working, and it's going straight, the wheels, do you use them anymore? You have to put them in. You have to hide them. Is it still there? Yes, it is still there. It is the wheels that brought you up. But now, you have to leave that. You cannot say the wheels are there, still I must have it. Now, it will upset the balance when you're on your journey now. The fiqh, what we call the laws in Islam, people are studying fiqh, people are studying the shariat, the law, as if they want to become lawyers in the fiqh. Says who? Everyone lives in America. We all need to know the laws of America, correct? Do you see any American or any British person or any other country, because they live within the legal system of that country, they're so concerned that they study all the laws as if they're a lawyer, but they cannot become a lawyer? Do you ever see that? No. What happens? When you need to know the law, you hire a lawyer. Do you have to become one? No, you don't. Because there are different works for you to do. So the fiqh, when they say study the fiqh, study the laws of Islam, it is as if to become a lawyer in the fiqh, to become an alim in the fiqh. But if we're saying, just say to me, the 54 fars, they don't know. Say to me the 32 fars. These are the basics of fiqh. They're not able to answer. They don't know. If we say to you, what is the obligations of wudu? Taking your ablution, the obligations. What is the obligation? And what is the sunnats? And what are the other actions that perfects it? They will not be able to give you an answer, but they know so much now. So the basics are missing now. You have to learn the basics. What are the basics? Learn your 32 fars. Learn your 54 fars. Learn how to enter into the bathroom, how to take wudu, how to take ghusl. Learn how to pray, how to fast. Learn. Beyond that, if you think that you want to learn more, it's up to you. You may learn more. But ask yourself, what is your reason now for learning? To know more. Why you need to know more? They say to you, read. Reading is good. Why you have to read? For what reason you're reading? Why are you going to learn now all these intricacies of the law? Why? For what reason? And which kind of fiqh are you learning now? Now they don't believe in mazhabs, the schools of thoughts. So which fiqh are you going to pick up? Okay, you say we believe in the Hanafi. Where are you going to learn? Which Hanafi? Hanafi here in America, or Hanafi in India or Pakistan or Turkey? They are slightly different. Hanafi mazhab fiqh of this century or 1 century ago or 5 centuries ago? They are very different. Why are you learning? If you're really sincere, so many people, they learn, they don't know why they learn. Or they learn just to show off, to say they know something. Physical knowledge, the Shariat, basics, you must know. Now, what is more important? The Zahir or the Batin? The physical or the spiritual? The spiritual is more important. Good. Then learn the spiritual. Why is it important? Because the question Allah has asked and He has answered 1400 years ago. We don't have to go trying to understand what is the meaning of life. Why have we been created? Why we sent to this world? Allah has already made it clear. We have created the ins and the jinns, the man, in order to know us and to worship us. We have been created to know Allah and to worship Him. In order to worship Him, you have to know Him first. Going up and down doesn't mean that we worship. How can you worship something that you don't know? And how do you know Allah? This is when the Prophet said, alayhi wasalam, he who knows himself, he knows his Lord. So now we're coming back full circle. You have to know yourself. Once you start knowing yourself, then you will know your Lord. This is the spiritual knowledge. Why it is important. Because if you don't know why, then you're doing what and how with no reason. No reason. If you do something with no reason, it has no meaning. So now, of course, in these days, they are misunderstanding so many things. They think, on the one hand, especially since Tariqat or Sufism has been introduced into the West, in the Western languages, because in the Eastern languages, they're not perception. their understanding of Tariqat and Sufism is different. But when it came to the West, suddenly certain things are highlighted and certain things are hidden. Mevlana Jalaluddin Rumi, Qaddasallahu Sir, Rumi, of the Mevleviya, the Mevlevi Sufi order. In the West, he is promoted as a saint who just preaches about love and understanding and tolerance. But in the East, our understanding of him is completely different. Yes, there is love and understanding. There's ashq. Even that word love is not love. Ashq is different. Ashq is something that overtakes you, overpowers you. It's a passion. It is not passive, it is very active. The act of sacrifice, it is not passivity, it is active. You give your will back. You don't just receive your will that Allah has given. You return the will. Tell me that is something passive. Tell me there's something passive when you return the will that Allah has given back to Him. Mawlana Jalaluddin Rumi, his name is not Jamaluddin. Jamal is one of the names of Allah. It means the beauty of the religion. His name is Jalaluddin, which means what? The Jalal, the majesty of the religion. In the West, it's showing him a little bit different. The way that we understand him is different. They make us also to understand. He is the one who says we accept all forms and everything. No law, everything is okay, everything is love. But openly he's saying, what did he say? I am the servant of the Quran, and I am the dust in the way of Muhammad. If anyone says other than this about me and my teachings, I am away from him and that person, and he is away from me. So, this idea that Sufism now is a passive question saying feminine, whatever you want to say, that is how in this end of times, in this Akhir Zaman, they want to portray spirituality to be. Spirituality as something that is passive and something that is feminine. Whereas spirituality in the history of Islam, in Tasawwuf and in Sufism, the way that the Sufis, they define themselves, it is something that is very active. Because who do we follow? The Prophet ﷺ and his companions. We follow Hazrati Ali, we follow Karamallahu Wajha, we follow Hazrati Abu Bakr. And these examples, were they passive? Were they quote unquote feminine? No. They were strong. They were very active. So, what are we being passive about? We must learn how to be passive about our anger, not to act on it. Yes. Jealousy, don't act on it. This is where there's a difference too between our spiritual teachings and others. You have a thought. You have a bad thought. It is not an act. There is no sin for you because it is not manifested. You have a good thought, a good intention. It's already written as a good action that you've done. This is what we say, the Rahman and the Rahim of Allah, the mercy and the compassion. If you do something wrong, there are two angels here. One on the right, left. The one on the right records all your good actions. The one on the left records all your bad actions. When you do something wrong, the one on the left, before he records, he asks the permission of the one on the right. He committed a wrong thing. Should I write it? The one on the right says, do not write it. For how long? 6 hours. 6 hours. If within the 6 hours he asks for forgiveness, do not write it. If he does not ask for forgiveness, then write it, the action, one time. Meaning if he lies, he just lied. This is what he did, and the punishment for that is that. If a man does something good, the one on the right does not ask the permission of the one on the left. He writes it, and according to the intention now, that good action or that good intention can be multiplied between 7 to 700 to 700,000 times. So, the passivity that we need to have, we need to be passive on these qualities of our ego. This is what we need to do. But people, they're very active when it comes to anger. Very quickly, they spring up, isn't it? Something touches them and whoop, they become ready to burn the whole world. If they have power at that time, they're going to burn, they're going to shoot. It's the same thing now, the anger. All of us, we have it. Envy. Man who has envy. If you have a drop of envy, the doors of paradise is forbidden to you. You cannot enter into paradise. Now, we're talking about beyond, believing in this or that. We're talking about basic values of the human, of man. What is important, what is not important. Now, to be able to control that, to be able to make that passive, that is important. That is what spirituality is teaching. And inshallah, I'm just saying small things about this question. Don't say something that is going to convince to other people. And do things, say things first, convince yourself. If you understand, you'll be able to articulate that understanding. Not just to say the way you understand, but because you understand, you're going to understand the question the person asks and how to approach that person. Meaning, you'll be able to understand what his heart is. If you don't understand your beliefs, you can never articulate it. You can never explain it. People will just not get it. That's how it's going to be. You're just not going to get it. But if you understand,